woman that missed the train. This is the same person. She missed the train. Well, what happened to her was she ended up almost being robbed by a robber. So these are things that happened to her when she missed the train. All right. She get home. Her husband or her boyfriend, I think it was with another woman. So she caught him in bed with another woman.
Wow.
All right. So of course she got mad and threw her out and that kind of thing. So then you switch back to the woman that was on the train, the one that made it. She actually made it on the train. She ended up
That was
wrong one.
great.
Okay. I love her. All right. So that was the one that made it on the train. Ended up having to go to the hospital and that kind of stuff. She was the one that was robbed.
The woman that made it on the train.
Come on now.
I got a mic for her. Here you go.
So the one to help you with the black hair at the bottom, she did not make it on the train, and so she ended up had to catch a taxi cab. So she got robbed waiting for the taxi cab. So by the time she got home, she did not.
Oh, that's right. Did
not catch her
Right.
boyfriend in bed with another woman. But the one on top actually caught the train and found her boyfriend with another woman.
Right.
And so then that was kind of.
Thank you, Shirley. You're the best. All right, so that's exactly what happened. But in essence, really what happened was it showed the trajectory of this lady's life, this lady's life on both planes because of what happened to her. Now, she missed the train, so all of this stuff happened. She made the train, so she saw her boyfriend and so she ended up meeting someone else on the train and started dating this guy. He was a really nice guy, and a whole bunch of stuff happened. She decided to start her own business, the one that has the short hair, because she decided she was going to change her life because of what he did. She was going to do something different, and she did. And she started the business and that kind of thing. So what I want to tell you is that there are two things going on. We have two senses of time that's going on at the same time. We make a decision a lot of times which plane we're going to be on. Now, I'll tell you that even though that happened, even though she found someone else and this one stayed with the guy and he ended up still trying to mess around, all kind of stuff, at the end, both of their lives came back together again. Wow. What I want you to know is that you may go this way. Woo! You may go that way.
Come on now.
But it comes back together again. Okay? So the reality is, and honestly, it's a really good movie, so you really should see it. But it is one of those where understand that both are going on at the same time. We're making the choice every day with what we did. Because the reality is, if she had not taken the liquor from her boss, she would have been at work all day long.
That's right.
Her life would have went another way.
Yes.
You see? So, anyway. So just take a look at that movie. It's very good. All right, so let's go here to 19 through 21. All right, it is obvious what kind of life develops out of trying to get your own way all the time. Repetitive, loveless, cheap sex, stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage. I know y'all love the message Bible. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to say, because it talks just like me. I love that. Mental, emotional garbage, frenzied and joyless grabs for happiness.
Wow.
Trinket gods, magic show religion, paranoid loneliness, cutthroat competition. Come on now, y'all. All-consuming yet never satisfying wants.
Wow.
A brutal temper, an impotence to love or to be loved. Divided homes and divided lives. Small-minded and lopsided pursuits. The vicious habit of depersonalizing everyone into a rival.
Wow.
I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm serious. That one is serious. At the top it says, it is obvious what kind of life develops out of trying to get your own way all the time. This one, the vicious habit of depersonalizing everyone into a rival. You mad at everybody. Everybody.
Something.
I didn't even do nothing to you.
That's right.
Excuse me. Let me correct my grammar. I didn't do anything to you, right?
And you still mad.
And you still mad at me. I didn't do nothing. I just showed up after the last person did something.
See,
Right.
Yes.
So now you have a problem with me, right? I didn't do nothing. All right, but look, this is the thing, y'all. I have determined, remember I told you, let's make a choice. Make a choice.
Yes.
So either you're going to choose to get toe up about somebody having a problem with you, which is once again their problem. They have to deal with their problem.
Yes, they do. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm back. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right. I'm with you. Or you're going to let them go ahead on and deal with where they are and what they're dealing with and not take that on yourself. And that's what we do.
Yes.
We get caught up because they mad.
No, you're right, though.
That's right. You're
Right?
right. You're right
They don't
about
have to-
it. Yeah.
they can dish it out. That's them.
That's them.
But we don't have to receive it
No.
in our heart. We do not. Make a choice. That's a choice when we receive it.
Yes.
All right, so that's a choice on that. All right, so here we go. The rest of these, the vicious habit of depersonalizing everyone to a rival, uncontrolled and uncontrollable addictions, ugly parodies of community. I could go on.
Right.
But we don't have that much time.
We don't have that much time.
All right, we could keep on going with this. I could make up a few myself.
Yeah.
But we can't do this. This isn't the first time, which is Paul is saying to the church. This is the first time I warned you, if you use your freedom this way, you will not inherit his kingdom.
My God. My
Look.
God.
What we're talking about today is simple. I mean, this stuff we know. I know, we know this. I can't believe you even brought that one up. We know this, yeah? And every time we react in a way that is not the way God would have us to react, not with his spirit, not the way he would have us to love, then we still haven't learned.
That's right.
We need to hear it again.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
And then we need to hear it again.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Because out of the what?
Abundance
Abundance of the heart.
the mouth.
Absolutely. So if it's in your heart, if you're receiving that in your heart, that stuff coming back out your
It's
mouth.
got to come out.
I'm just saying.
This is good.
It's coming back. All right, so let's go into the good stuff.
What?
But what happens when we live God's way? Right? I love this Bible because it speaks just like me. What happened if we live the way God told us to do?
What happened?
Right? So he didn't say it like that. All right, but that's what he brings gifts into our lives.
Yes.
Much the same way that fruit appears in an orchard. He brings gifts into our lives, much the way you've seen an orchard,
Yes.
or orchard, right? With like an abundance of fruit, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's how he brings the gifts into our lives. Oh my God. Things like affection for others.
Yes.
Exuberance about life.
Uh-huh.
Serenity.
Serenity.
Oh my God, can we just be at peace for a minute?
Just a minute.
Can we be at peace for a minute?
Just a minute.
I mean, come on, y'all. Come on. God is awesome. We develop a willingness to stick with things, don't
Well,
Yes.
we? When we live God's
We
way.
live God's way.
When we allow his spirit, okay? We do that. All right, so what else? I get stuff. A sense of compassion in the heart and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people.
Yes.
We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments.
yes, we do.
Not needing to force our way in.
Absolutely.
Life, able to marshal and direct our energies wisely. When we walk in the eternity of life.
Right.
Right? When we walk in God's way, the Spirit, allow the Spirit to move us. All right, so I'm going to say this. Legalism is helpless in bringing this about. It only gets in the way, he says. Among those who belong to Christ, everything connected with getting our own way and mindlessly responding to what everybody else calls necessities is killed off for good.
Yes.
Wow.
It's crucified with Christ. Okay? All right, so the thymus gland. I just thought I'd throw that in there because, my pastor was always throwing something organ. Every week we got an organ we got to be in. One week is the brain. And the pineal gland, or another week is the heart, and that one continues throughout the year.
Yeah,
The heart organ, we ain't getting away from that.
No.
All right, but the thymus gland is this gland. I don't know where Toya is. Good, she's not in the room, so if I tell you I was in the wrong spot, she won't say it out loud. But the thymus gland is right here. It's kind of like between your sternum, right near your heart, right in this, between your heart and your sternum. So it's right here. And there are times in which, you can just kind of be still and you'll feel it pulsate. Right there. Okay. The thymus gland is a gland that actually comes to maturity in puberty. So it's big, it's large when you're an infant. When you come to puberty, that's when it's its largest. And then from that point forward, it is shrinking down to almost nothing. And by the time you're 80, it's covered in fat. So it's very, very small. Starts out really big when you're in puberty. So what this gland does is actually produce the T lymphocytes, the ones that fight off infection and fights off impurities and fights off cancers. That's what that gland does. So it produces those lymphocytes, I think they're called. But check this out. Once it's produced all that it produces by puberty, it's done. So if you ain't got all you need by then,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap.
Short.
It's over. And so what happens is they're placed in other parts of the lymphatic system for when they're needed. So they're placed in those other areas of your body until it's actually needed, okay? But that thymus gland, that thing done after puberty. All right, but let me tell you what I also read about it from a spiritual perspective. This gland is also where the soulish part of a man is. Okay? So when we're dealing with all of these different things that we're dealing from a spiritual perspective, it's the soulish part. So we're dealing with emotions and our mind. And of course, there's a mind there, right? As Pastor's mentioned to us, in every part of our body, in every single cell. Every cell. Right? So that's where that is. So all of emotions and all of that stuff is stuck. Now imagine, it's getting smaller as the years go on.
Yeah.
Imagine how ugly that can be. Okay? But let's talk about that. All right, so let's talk about the fact that this particular gland is where our immune system is kind of developed early on.
Go ahead.
All right, so if that is indeed the case, the thing I want y'all to understand about being immune, if we're led by the Spirit, we're immune from certain things. Stuff can happen to us all day.
Right.
All day, y'all. All day. Stuff can happen all day, but we can resist it.
Yeah.
If we're led by the Spirit. We can be unaffected by it if we're led by the Spirit.
That's good stuff.
And we can be clear-headed. We can be free and not caught up. We can feel, you see I got all your words in that passage. Safe, free, clear.
Got you. It's really good.
We can be not liable. We can be not subject.
Ooh.
We can be protected.
Yeah.
If we're led by the Spirit. Led it. Y'all heard that? Led. That's a new word. That's one I thought up. I don't think that's a real one. No, it's okay. We're licensed to do the things that God has called us to do. We're allowed. We're privileged.
Yes.
Because of the Spirit.
Yes.
We're favored.
Yes.
But the antithesis to that is, or the opposite, if we're led by our flesh, if we're led by our emotions, then we're hindered.
Right.
We're susceptible to stuff. Somebody can talk and cause us all kinds of stuff,
Right.
and we get caught up about it.
Right.
You know, I'm really coming to the place where we've got to understand that as stuff happens, that stuff doesn't necessarily mean it has to cause us to be caught up.
Right.
I mean, I really feel that more and more. You know, one of the things that we're dealing with Mom. You know, Mom had the stroke and that kind of thing. And one of the things God is teaching us is patience.
Oh my God.
Patience. And I'll tell you something that happened today. I was working with my computer, and my computer went off just before it was time for me